All right. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I'm going to go over some gear today with you. See my breath? It's springtime. It was like 70 degrees 3 days ago. I was in my t-shirt on this mountain, and now there's snow. I'm a little pissed off. I don't care for the cold so much, but yeah, it is almost upon us, the spring, and I am getting ready to go on some black bear trips. I've got 3 planned. Be gone for about 6 weeks, so I'm going to really put a lot of gear to the test this spring and hopefully come back with some pretty awesome backcountry adventures. But today, what I thought I'd do, I'm still going over my kit and what I'm deciding to bring with me on these trips and what not to bring. And of course, as the season changes, that adjusts as well. So what I thought I'd do today, because I am giving away a grizzly bear hunt through Peaks Equipment, I'm going to go over some of the things that I'm thinking about this season, pull in some thoughts on some of this Peaks Equipment that I have. This isn't just a straight sales pitch. It's legit what I'm using and what I think is the best, and I'll tell you why. But also, it's a good time if you need some gear for the season. Peaks has some stuff, and you could win a grizzly bear hunt. You just got to get in by this Sunday night, midnight. Anyway, let me just go over a couple of things that are on my mind for you guys to think about that I think is useful. First of all, let me start with something I used last year that I would say never use again, at least for now. One of those too good to be true sort of products. This Cruxley solar panel was $250, and I sprung for it because I was like, man, it's 25 watts, and the thing is like so lightweight, paperweight. You get it in the mail and you plug it in, and it is cranking electricity. Then you go and you use it, hike with it, I don't know, just do things with it, and it quits working. And my brother-in-law, Trav, he got the same one. Same thing happened to him. I've talked to a couple other guys, same things happened to them. So I'm not so sure. I don't know what's up with it. I don't know why it stopped working. It barely chokes out any electricity at all. So $250, amazing when I first got it, but I don't know if it's a fragile setup. If these panels, the way that they're built, they just break with a little bit of pressure, or the Trav is like, I think maybe it got a little wet or something. I don't know, but I need something that is dependable and doesn't fail on me. So I've gone back to the Rhino Tough, which they don't really make anymore as far as I know. I also have the same version, the Anker version of the solar panel. It's your standard 3-panel solar panel. This thing's bomb-proof. It'll give me electricity even when it's a little bit cloudy, or a lot cloudy, in fact. And I can take like one battery pack with me and this, and pretty much always have enough juice to keep my inReach in my phone, and even my headlamp, which I got around here. Yep, right here, charged. Like everything I run in the backcountry at this point is rechargeable, and with one battery pack, and this, I can stay juiced up. As far as the battery packs go, I've used a few different ones. I've used the Nitecore. I've used Dark Energy for years. If you use the code GRITTY at Dark Energy, you get a discount. Dark Energy has been far more reliable. I have some Dark Energy battery packs from, I'm not joking, from 2016 that I'm using today that I have been using for a decade, and it is still going. And that battery pack just handles the weather, the cold, the wet, all that stuff. My Nitecore is lighter. It's a little bit lighter weight, a little more compact, for the same amount of juice. At least it says the same amount of juice. I don't think it is. I think it gives me just a little less. It like gives me a half charge less on my iPhone than the Dark Energy. So it's a tough one. Also, the Nitecore has gone down on me a couple of times where it does this safety feature where it says your cord is a little damp and it refuses to charge my phone. And I don't know why it's not damp. The battery pack has been fine. I don't know, so I end up having to try to just put it in the sun and literally, I don't know why. And it's happened to me on a couple of different battery packs. So a little bit of, I don't know, dampness in the air will kind of trigger it somewhat. So, still, it is half the weight just about for the Nitecore versus the Dark Energy. So I go back and forth. If it's kind of wet or nasty weather, or I just know I'm going to be in remote Alaska, I'm taking the Dark Energy. It's just bomb proof. But if I'm like packing really light and I'm on a goat hunt and I'm a day's hike out, kind of going for the Nitecore. But yeah. And I haven't looked at a lot of latest gear as far as the solar panels go. There are some more out there. There's another one out there, solar panel that is called the Sun. I'll put a link up right here. I'll put a little link up. It's Kayam, my buddy Kayam, who works with me at Peaks. He has it's like it's the Sunburst or something. I'll put it up on the screen. And it's basically a replacement for the Anchor or the Rhino Tough, which are both discontinued 3-panel solar panels. It's a little heavier, I think. And I think these are 18 watts. But they're right around a pound, just a little over. The Anchor's a little lighter. They're right around a pound though. But you take this in one battery pack and you're good. I just am disappointed in the Cruxley. I mean, 25 watt panel that weighs nothing was great until it wasn't. So that's my thought there. So if you're looking for battery and solar panel, it's kind of where I'm at. If you guys know something that I don't know, please put a comment down below in the comment section. And I'd like to look into other options that are out there and just pursue that. So let's talk for a minute about shelters, because that's kind of what's been on my mind the last week or so. So, I've been debating what I'm going to do on this spring black bear trip. Couple of trips I've got planned. So I'm backpacking in pretty remote. Pack's going to be pretty heavy. If with like 10 or 12 days of food in it, it gets heavy, even though it's lightweight. Just that much gear, rifle, everything kind of weighs. I'm going on a 2-week hunt with a bow for black bear, so I'm mixing it up this year. But you got your weapon, your gear. It starts to add up. So, what shelter? Well, as you could see, it was 75 degrees or whatever I said the other day, t-shirt weather, and now it's snow all over the ground for the last 3 days. It's been like 27, 28 degrees or something. Everything's frozen. It's ice, and it is cold. And it's cold during the day. It's really cold at night. And I suspect as it starts to melt, it was also pretty rainy and sleety for a day. That's the sort of weather you get in the spring, and that kind of weather sucks because you get wet and it's cold. And you never know in the springtime, because you might get sunny days like t-shirt weather for a good, 4 or 5 days. And then you just get nasty weather for 3 or 4 days. Heavy snow, cold, you're soaking wet, back and forth between cold and rain, snow and rain. And man, in those circumstances, it is just heavenly to have a wood stove. So my plan for this year, and this is kind of our plan every year, usually actually when we go spring bear. Let's say we're hiking 10 miles in. We'll sort of man up and we'll take a shelter with a wood stove, and we'll look at the weather. and we'll look at it and say, well, what does the weather look like? If the weather looks great for like 5 days, then we carry our wood stove and shelter in about halfway, like on a 10-mile hike. If it's a nice trail, we'll go ahead and carry that shelter and stove, kind of a base camp system, up to that 5-mile marker. And then we'll stash our stuff along with food and extras. And then we'll go from there another 3, 4, 8, 5 miles from there. So if we do get soaking wet, or we do need to dry out, or we get ourselves a bear and we're going to hike back, or we need to replenish our food, but we're soaking wet, we don't have to go 10 miles back to the trailhead. We can just do half. We can go halfway back to the trailhead. And that way we can get our stove cranking up. At any given time, we can hike out those. Let's say you're going 6 miles in, less extreme. 3 miles in, you don't have to go all the way, the whole 6 miles back to your truck or the trailhead. You can just go 3 miles back to where you stashed your stove and your other shelter, your bigger shelter. So we often run like that. That way you can always just sort of dry out if you do get soaking wet or you are miserable. And when it comes to spring bear, here's the deal. If you do get a stretch of wet weather, it's really terrible hunting. Bears like sunshine. The spring, bears love warm weather. They're about like you. If the weather's good and it's not too hot, and it's not too cold, I mean, they're out and about just like you would be. A beautiful spring day, they're suckers. They're just going to pile into the open and be around. It gets wet and cold and it's hit and miss. You know, how hungry are they? What's going on? Did a boar push a sow or like around, or what's going on? So, if it is like crummy weather, a lot of times we're like, well, it's crummy for the next 2 days. We might as well like replenish food, go back to the shelter. We might as well stoke up the stove. So it's a weight thing. And so it's like, do you bring the wood stove all the way? Now, if it's crappy weather, we'll just man up and take the stove. The stove is like 2-3 pounds. So if you split some of it, it's like 1.5 pounds for each guy if you got 2 guys. So it's a little bit of a weight penalty. Now, if you don't have a lot of camera gear like me, and you could actually, I kind of feel like I got like 15 to 18 pounds of batteries, camera gear, and lenses and stuff. So sometimes, it's a bit of 1.5 pounds on a stove, sharing it with a guy can add up. So that's my thought. Kind of one of our strategies to lighten our load. If the weather's good, we leave the stove and another shelter behind. Now let's talk about shelters real quick. So on this first trip I'm going on, I've got there's 3 of us. Do we take, this right here is the Solitude 1-man shelter, the Solitude, 1. And it is basically 1.5 pounds. This thing is tiny, lightweight, super killer footprint, and it is way more spacious than you think it is. Sturdy and stable. I used this last year for a couple of weeks, and I can't say this for a single man shelter. It's way more impressive than you think. You could put it on a deer bed. You could sit up in it. If you're a 6-foot+ guy, there is still room. Your head doesn't hit. Your feet don't touch. Your head doesn't touch on either side. The vestibule is actually fairly large. It's a brilliant design. You can pitch this thing right up next to a tree or a hill. It's got a flat wall on one side for that purpose, and then it extends out on the other. It had a lot of design built into it. I had a lot of complaints about a lot of those single man shelters I've used in the past as far as pitching on steep, type of areas. I'll have to show this when the weather clears up, really showcase this shelter. It's legit. Now it's 1.5 pounds and you can't run a stove, right? So it is, if you're one guy, it's kind of, this is what I would use, hands down, no question. Now, then you have the Solitude 4-man tent, which is the standby. I've been using that for years now. And the Dyneema version puts you right about 3 pounds. So do the math. If you and your buddy are both going up, you got you can each take one of these and you're carrying 1.5 pounds. You can each take a one man and you're carrying 1.5 pounds, or you split the weight of the load of the Dyneema Peak Shelter Solitude 4 teepee, and you're basically 1.5 pounds as well. So you're 1.5 pounds with two guys sharing the weight of the 4-man, or you're 1.5 pounds each carrying each your own solo shelter. Now, the solo shelter doesn't accommodate a stove, which is kind of depends on the weather. It depends on the situation. But one thing about, if you do get a little damp or whatever, there's always an outside fire, which we do all the time. We light a bonfire and we get ourselves warm in the spring right outside, get a fire cranking, and we can warm up without the need of a wood stove. Wood stove creates more convection heat and can dry out your gear. But if you're just trying to warm up, dry out a little bit, you can do it outside around a campfire. Now, so the thing is, if you take the 4-man, which is really like a 2-man, you can bring your wood stove and you can fit you both in there, and it adds another 1.5 pounds each. It's hard to say. Like if I'm going with two guys, I think I'm taking, I don't know. Depends. Do you want to share a tent with your buddy, or do you want a separate one? Because if you each take one of these, it's the same weight as if you share the weight of the other one. And here's another interesting thing, and this is kind of where I land right now. This sucker right here is the 6P, and it is a castle. This is a legit castle. I don't think anybody, if you haven't climbed inside this, you really can't grasp how comfortable and spacious and large this 6-person teepee is from Peaks. And it's not only is it large, it's basically been designed to sort of overcome all the issues that we have, or I have had, with big tents like 8-mans and other brands that have come out with large tents, large teepees like this. The center pole is super high, and then it sags down the middle and comes out. They don't have great guy lines. They try. Dude, the Peaks version of this is just a stomper. It just beats everybody. This thing pitches kind of oval, and it's got like 2 doors on the back, 2 doors on the front. You can put your trekking poles in the peak for the cross trekker support, and then it's got 2 trekking poles that go on the ends that stick in. And when you guy it out and you put that sucker up, it's like bomb proof, and the wind hits it. It's just built to take a beating. The structure doesn't sag anywhere. And we legitimate slept with 6 guys in that thing. And I had plenty of room, like the whole width of my sleeping bag and gear and space around me, with like 6 guys shoulder to shoulder across this whole shelter. So imagine with 3 of us carrying the 6P in, this 6-person tent, 3 of us, dude, we have like our own corner, like wing of the White House going on over there. And guess what? This, if you split the weight with 3 guys, also 1.5 pounds. So it's like, it's 1.5 pounds, 1.5 pounds, 1.5 pounds. It's 1.5 pounds no matter what. If I take a single man and I'm with 3 guys and we each we're carrying 1.5 pounds. If I go with 2 guys and we're carrying the 4-man, it's 1.5 pounds. If I take the 6P with 3 dudes, it's 1.5 pounds. And I've had this discussion before. I've talked about this years ago when we were running some of the other stuff like the Seek Outside. We would talk about, Ryan and I, how like, man, it's not that much more weight to take like the Red Cliff over the Cimarron. And so we would take the Red Cliff. And the thing about this is the 6P weighs about the same, and yet it's way bigger, way more robust, way more stable. So it's like man, this 6P is a game changer on some levels. And here's the deal. If you do get a lot of rain, which sometimes has happened to us in the spring, and you're stuck in your shelter all day for 2 days as it's just kind of nasty and snowy and rainy and the bears aren't out, it is so nice to be in a big shelter. Like for Alaska, it's hard to beat a large shelter. You feel so cramped and you get wet and you're just like stuck in this small space. It really sucks. So with this sucker, you just are in such a roomy, spacious area. Now, the downside to this is footprint. If you're hunting really steep country and you're camped high, and there's a lot of slope and there's not a lot of flat spots or benches or saddles that you can find to pitch something like this, it's tough. Same thing with the 4-man. Same thing with the 4-man. And that's where the 1P really shines. You could put this anywhere. I mean, you could put it on the side of a cliff and it will pitch. So generally where we're hunting bears, everywhere we go, yeah, we get into some really steep stuff. Sometimes, it's tough to find a flattish or a big enough spot, but not that tough. There's a few areas where, yes, absolutely. I mean, we have to, and I'm sure you guys have seen some video where we've had to dig like a 2-foot notch out of a slope and then flatten it with our pickaxe to try to build an area where we can put like a 4-man. So in that type of unit, in that type of hunt area, this is out of the question. The 6P is out of the question. But there's only one place we've hunted bears that's really like that. Everywhere else we hunt bears, there's plenty of room to put a 4P or 6P, any shelter you want. You just got to hike, a few hundred yards more over here and set up there versus over here. So this is what's running through my mind right now. There's 3 of us. We're going pretty remote. We're going to share the weight of this 6P simply because it's the same weight and yet 10 times the luxury. I mean, literally just so much luxury in that thing. So much luxury. So we're going to load that up and take it. And I'm going to bring in a wood stove, but I'll probably bring the large. In the springtime like this, even though it's a spacious tent, I don't need a really big wood stove. I'm not trying to beat back, below freezing temps or even 10 degree temps or negative temps. That's not going to happen. So I just need enough of a stove to get some heat going in that shelter and to get the stuff above warmed up. So in the spring like this, I think I'll just bring the Torrid large stove, the Peaks stove, because it's just a little bit it's about probably what I need for the spring, even though it's a spacious tent and it's a little bit bigger. Mostly the heat will go to the top, which will dry out my gear, and it's just not that cold this time of year to bring the XL, unless you want to just go really, really comfort. It adds a little more weight though. If the weather's nice, we're just going to leave that wood stove halfway up the trail along with stash of food and extras and some other stuff. And then we're going to spike out together, the 3 of us, and go after stuff. That's my plan for the first hunt. The second hunt, I might switch because it's just deeper into the season. There's a lot more. It's sunnier and warmer. You get into later into May, the second half. It's just rare that there's weather at all. I mean, I'd cowboy camp. So the 1P is probably what I'll do, and each of us will have our own. Also, we might be splitting up here and there where I just go off by myself while someone else goes off over there. And here I am at that 1.5 pound mark with this thing. And I absolutely love this shelter. I think this one person is if guys will roll with this thing and try it out, they'll get rid of any other one person shelter they have and go for it. That's what I think. So that's kind of my take on the 3 shelters. Man, at any point, if I can, I just like the big spacious shelters. If there's plenty of room to put the footprint on the ground, go big, split it with 3 guys. And, like maybe maybe you can't exactly split it completely because a guy can carry a pole and stakes and a guy can carry the main shelter. But then you can mix it up by going, hey, I'm carrying this much. Hey, you carry my Jetboil or whatever, my Summit stove, and you kind of just work it out amongst you so you're all evenly carrying and sharing weight. But that's how I would roll the shelters. Now ticks can be kind of an issue for guys. I get it. It doesn't really bother me. Ticks get on you. I think you have 8 to 12 hours to get a tick off of you once it climbs on you. It's like they don't just dig in right away. Not here in the mountains where we hunt spring bear. So, we just do tick checks on the regular. But if you're one of those guys that's really freaked out by ticks and you want to have a nest, all of these shelters have a nest. And I believe like the shelter for the nest, the fully enclosed nest for like the 6P is 2 pounds, I think. So, if you were to split that, you'd add a little bit of weight, to the group. But it is nice because it's fully sealed. And I did think about this quite a bit. Sometimes it's nice just to cowboy camp outside, especially when you do get later into the spring and it's kind of hot and you're trying to sleep. And, I got to admit, like, I hate if there are ticks and I just have a ground cloth and my shelter's not sealed shut. It is a little creepy, like laying there bare skinned with your hanging off your air pad with your sleeping bag kind of converted into a quilt and on the side because it's too warm. Typically I'm just sweating a little bit because I'm like staying inside the bag. I don't care because I'm trying to at least limit somewhat how many ticks get on me at night. You can roll with the nest, and it's nice. The nest is super nice. It's just a weight penalty. I'm just never willing to pay. But for some of you, it is. I have found that it's just as long as I do some tick checks, drop my drawers, check my body, do that before I get in bed at night. First thing in the morning, I'll get up, do the same thing, check, pull off all the ticks that might have crawled on me, and get going. And in all the years I've been hunting bears I'm picking hundreds, if not thousands of ticks off of me in the course of a week. And I've never had one burrow in. So, it doesn't creep me out the way that it used to when I catch one on me or when they're crawling on me. Like I said, if you're diligent and you just pick them off, they generally just don't find their way into your skin. They're just on you. It's annoying. It's like an ant crawling on you for a while. You got a little time. So, but they do all have nests, and the nests are very nice. So you can opt for one of those and add it to your kit. And I've used the nest in all the shelters so far, and they're great. Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about is just at Peaks right now. Let's say you're getting ready to go. There are some gear items that I think are worth talking about. This is my old kind of homemade medical kit. They're not sexy, I don't think. I think they kind of suck because you have to carry one because you might die in the backcountry if you don't. At the same time, I almost never need a tourniquet in case I slice myself open or get mauled by a bear. Yet I carry it all the time because when I do need it, it'll save my life. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. I'll be honest, raw carrying one. But Peaks takes the guesswork out of it. They've got their med kit. It's legit. This is my kind of homemade old-timey one. It's okay. This is much lighter, better thought out, and it'll save your life. And if you do get the kit right now, Peaks is trying to get the word out. It's a solid kit. It's the best out there. You can go and look at some of those other brands that are out there. I forget what they're called, like REI stuff. This kicks its ass. So go check it out. It's the med kit at Peaks. And if you do buy the med kit, you get double entries to the grizzly hunt. We're going to pick that winner Basically, you have until Sunday night. Go shop at Peaks, get it by Sunday night. You get double entries, and then we're going to, randomly pick somebody who shopped at Peaks. Use the code GRITTY, don't forget, and that'll get you entered to win. So that's a key item for going. And then Peaks has the glassing pad, which I never don't take. It's versatile. It's lightweight, weighs nothing, and it's so comfortable because it's mostly the cold. It's not that I need a soft cushion. It's that I freeze my butt off sitting on the ground glassing, kneeling, whatever. And so it's money. And then rifle cover. Same thing. It's lightweight, does the job. You've seen it before. Now with Peaks, got the rifle cover, got the glassing pad. They're staples. And gaiters. There's brown, there's black, there's green, in case black isn't your thing. It's funny. The other day, so there's an ad. Peaks is running an ad with me where I talk about this gaiter and say how good it is. And, when ads run on like Facebook or whatever, there's always some jokers that get on there, and it's mostly negative comments in the ads. Like somebody calls me a sellout or something. Anyway, this guy's like, they're garbage. And I'm like, lies, they're fire. And then like 6 or 7 other dudes jump into the comment section or whatever, and they say, no, these are legit. These are the best gaiters on the market. So it's pretty cool when guys voluntarily, like solid guys that are in backcountry, Alaska and stuff, and they're like, these gaiters are among the best, if not the best, out there on the market right now. So if you need a pair of gaiters, Peaks is winning. They got it going on that front. Let me talk real quick one more time. I want to go back to the shelters because I think there's a lot of teepees out there on the market, and they are just not as good. They're not as good. I've used all these teepees. Some of them are less expensive. They're not very good. And I say that because having used them, I have taken my Peaks teepee and I have taken it to places that are shameful, where the wind is ripping. It never stops. It's ice, snow, wind, sleet. Do you think this teepee is going to rip out of the ground and take off? I've tried to get it to fail. I've tried to get the zippers to fail, the guy outs to rip out, the shelter to, tear or break or whatever. And I put this thing where I wouldn't pitch where most guys wouldn't pitch, and I wouldn't pitch either, except I'm truly trying to figure out the limits of the shelter. I'm going to put it here just to prove it could go here, just to prove that it won't rip out of the ground and take off or tear or whatever. I'm trying to find its weakness and where it will fail. And I've done that with other brands, and some of them have stayed pitched, but their zippers have failed often. They're not as comfortable in the headspace. You cannot use the rafters, I call them, like the trekker. They don't have any trekkers up there. The inside sags. Usually they have like a rope around it and you hang your gear there and then it droops into your stovepipe or whatever. The Peaks version, you can hang, I've put, I don't know, I think 100 pounds or more. I think it was a 250-pound barbell plates hanging from the rafters, and it looked like it could go more. You can hang and put heavy weight inside there. All your gear is up off the ground, your boots, all the stuff when you're trying to dry things out. That is like versatile in a way that the other shelters are not. Plus it gives it that rigidity so it doesn't catch the wind. The wind sort of rips around it. And the other shelters are, They're just not as durable. They don't have the guy outs. They don't have the design. They're not as comfortable. They don't have the features. They're not comparable. I can't recommend enough. If you're going to go with something about the size of the Solitude 4, like there's nobody on the market that's got a better teepee right now, bar none, period. So, yeah, that's my rant on the Peaks teepee there. It's legit. And then when you go to the 6P and it's even bigger, but more robust, guys, it's bomb proof. And I can say that because I have destroyed them or tried to, and they're still kicking. So the other thing that you might look at, if you just need a few little things at Peaks, something like a compression sack. These compression sacks are so lightweight, and this is what I'll throw my sleeping bag in, and it'll compress that sleeping bag down to just a small piece that I can just throw inside of a bag. We've got dry bags to keep your stuff from getting wet, and again, super lightweight, little tiny bag. You can just put your gear in there, roll it up, and now it's protected and dry. Kit sacks, that's what we got here. These are like smaller little kit sacks of varying sizes, and they're, I mean, again, weight conscious, but useful. I mean, just a kit sack. I mean, they're not like reinventing anything, but they're lightweight, tough, and they get the job done, keep you organized. Peak spoon, it's kind of a no-brainer, and trekking poles. Various trekking poles at Peaks. They too are legit. They got a carbon fiber upper and aluminum lower. They're tough. They complement the shelters. You use them like on the one person to keep your shelter up, or you can use the carbon poles if you want to. Depends on the hike you're on. And you can use them as the cross members for both the 6P and the 4-person shelter, the 6-person and the 4-person. And you can't go wrong there. The final one is the sleeping bag. The Peak sleeping bag is amazing. I think it's hard to get a guy that already has a nice down sleeping bag that he spent a bunch of money on to upgrade to the Peaks version. And I get it, especially if you're hunting the spring or even just September. It really does shine when you're out there glassing or when you need other layers because the temperatures really drop. It's basically a down jacket that just converts into with your armholes and the hood and the whole thing. And I've talked about it a few times, but there's one that is the one piece of gear that I will never leave behind, that I use all the time. I practically live in that down sleeping bag. I legit I mean, I don't even have to get out of it at night when I got to go pee. I just pull my legs out. I walk outside. I go to the bathroom. My arms are out of it. My head is still in it. I climb back. I go back in, flop onto my mattress, put my foot back in, tuck my arms back inside the bag, and just go to sleep. It's you can glass in it, sit in it. It's just so comfortable. The foot box is built to keep water from wicking in when your foot touches the end of your shelter, which just kind of happens sometimes. You get a little condensation in there. It's built, the head is the same, so you don't get water coming in. It's the sleeping bag of my dreams. I helped design it. I bitched and complained when it didn't quite have enough down in the foot box, when the foot box wasn't a square box, but instead was sewn flat. I was like, we got to get rid of that. I want it to be so my feet are in there like they would normally be, in lofty warmth. It's a killer bag for hunters, for what we do. It's a sleeping bag that you don't realize how good it is until you have it. Every guy I've loaned it to or got him to try it out, they're like, man, I didn't know what I was missing. So check that out. If you're interested, big purchase item, but totally worth it. Maybe not for the spring or the fall, early fall, But if you're a late season rifle hunter and you're out there for elk and mule deer and stuff, and you're getting later into those seasons, I use it all year, but it does convert into a quilt. So I just use it as a blanket in the spring. It's just versatile, man. It does it all. So check that out. Now, this week, if you buy before Sunday at Peaks, another thing that I got to tell you is you are entered to win an Initial Ascent backpack. And Initial Ascent makes a killer bag. And that backpack, here's the top lid. You've seen it. I've talked about it. Carries weight better than any bag on the market. The frame is legit. So if you shop, we're going to pick a winner for winning for this week. We've been doing like a weekly giveaway inside the grand giveaway. So this week's weekly giveaway is the Initial Ascent bag. Last week was the Prime Bow. Week before that was a Peak sleeping bag. So each Sunday somebody wins that shopped over at Peaks. Could be you. And then we're going to do the grand prize winner for the grizzly bear hunt. It's a $25,000 hunt, and you could win it. Just go shop at Peaks. And one last item is the Peaks headlamp, green or red. It's pretty tough to beat. This thing is it's money. It's a staple. So I think that covers everything that I wanted to cover today. I know a lot of Peaks heavy, but I use a lot of Peaks gear. It's built for what I want. I help build half of it, a lot of it. I have a lot of input over there, and I think it's legit. It's hard to beat. So anything that I covered today, now's your chance to get it and get entered to win. Use the code GRITTY over there. I'm going to come back next week when I have a little more time, and I'm going to actually break down my entire kit that I am taking with me, show you the weight, the loads, kind of what I have, what my game plan is for the hunt, and go over my food selection and all that kind of stuff, as I've been doing carnivore for 2 years. And I think that you might find kind of my plan for that interesting. So tune in next week when I do a full gear breakdown. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for all the support. I could not do the Gritty shows without you. This is fueled by you. It really is. And I can't thank you enough. I get to do crazy, wild, cool stuff, come back, share my adventures, share the gear, share my experience with you. And, man, what a great gig. So thank you. Couldn't do it without you. And good luck out there. Stay fit, stay healthy, and stay gritty.